into the one-shot number 25. Gabe here, joined by Jocelyn. You like how I sing your name? Gabriel.
Sing it in a singy songy voice.
Well, we have a fun book that we are reviewing this month. It is a book we've talked about quite a bit. We've actually opened up the trading card of early concept for this book. Body Bags, number 1 and 2. This is the first 2 parts of Father's Day, which was like their story arc by Jason Pearson, the late, great Jason Pearson. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Jason Pearson.
This was his pride and joy, and I honestly, rightfully so. I had a fun time reading this book. It's to the point, issues 1 and 2 went by so quick for me, I almost went to issues 3 and 4, and I was like, let me stop.
Me too, yeah. I was like, oh, those were quick reads, and they were fun.
Yeah, and like it's not a bad kind of quick read. Like you breeze through it because it reads well, and there's a lot of action too. And I like a lot of books do this thing where like they'll jump back and forth between times of like things happening, and it's not done well. I like how this is. It's kind of like a TV show, like where they jump from one scene and then back to the other one, and then check in with the other scene, and then jump back, and the other scene is still happening. If that makes sense.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, they do that pretty well in this book. I will say, though, when reading this book, a quick little origin, this is about, a father who is a bounty hunter, and his daughter wants to be like him. We'll go into it more. But because of that concept, I look at the early concept art, and I'm like, man, what was the original story for them? Because if you remember, she was like a geisha girl, but he was still this big Mexican guy. Remember that where we saw those? It was like the creator cards, the creator universe cards.
Yes, I do remember that. And
she
had cards.
Yeah, and Panda was like a geisha girl on his shoulder. She had like the geisha dress and, the hair and everything. Like, I don't know. I want to know.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, I wonder if I could hear it. It's this is it right here. There was like a lineup photo. She was like a geisha girl, but he had a gun too. He had like this giant rifle.
Right.
And Panda was not Panda. So in here, too, they call him Clownface. Actually, they say it's a mysterious young girl, so she doesn't even have a name at this point.
What's interesting, though, is the city is the same. It's
still
called Terminus.
It's still Terminus, and Clownface is still Clownface, has the same look. He just doesn't have the knives. And honestly, it's weird to say because of how big he is in this picture. He's smaller than he is in this book.
Yeah, funny enough.
He's buff, but smaller in this picture, which is crazy. But look, he does have the knife, like one of them on his belt. There, it's the same type of look too. But yeah, so you could definitely see like he was a professional enforcer, whatever that.
Oh,
instead of bounty hunter.
What's weird? On the front of the card, he's got red shoes. On the back of the
black shoes.
Got black shoes. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. See, it's stuff like this, man. We're never gonna get the story to, which is so upsetting. Of like what this concept was. Because that's a big change to make, Yeah,
so like if she's a geisha girl, is Clownface still Mexican? Like what?
Yeah. And tell you too, like
if
you look here on the front of their card, for people wondering, this is card number 11 of the Creator's Universe. He's like her skin tone on the front, but then on the back he's tan, like how he is in the regular book. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of like
there's a lot of inconsistencies in this card.
Yeah, and again, it's probably just like a concept of these characters. Cause, like, she's like way smaller on the front than she is on the back. Because he can like hold her in his hand in the front. Mm-hmm. It's like this is how he started, like this smaller design, and then he progressively just got larger until what we got in this book. He just kept getting larger, and she kept getting smaller. Yeah, but stuff like this, it interests me, I want to know, like, this guy's deal, what this is all about.
I would love to know that as well.
Because in this book, he does have a partner. Like, was this the partner instead? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Something I'd like to know. But looking here at issue number 1, we start off with a mean, mugged-looking, angry man, scarred up, the Lemmy beard, you know what I mean? He's got the 2007 Triple H beard going on here. And we see it's like a news article talking about an explosion that just happened. It says 2 weeks ago, a Norcross County bounty contract office, that's what it was destroyed. And the thing about this universe is that they have bounty hunters, but they're almost like known bounty hunters. It's like a cartel mafia type thing, you know? But weirdly enough, you find out like these people almost have talents, like mutant abilities that separate them from just regular people, that make them these like hard-hitting, very talented bounty hunters that give them that title, which is pretty interesting. I like that. But I noticed too, as many times as I've seen this picture by like flipping through this, it wasn't until like actually reading it I realized, obviously this is Clownface without the mask, we find out, but he doesn't have an ear.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But we find out from this news article he was involved with this explosion with his partner, Iran Sekula is where it says here. That was his name, whose wife was Sharona Carter, that was unfortunately killed in this. His partner's wife was killed during this incident. And we see Clownface staring angrily, and this woman comes to the door. He's banging on the door, and this woman shows up, man. She looks beat up, man. Her one eye's bigger than the other. She got the nose ring, you know, the lip all curled. She's all banged up. And he's looking for someone here. He's asking for Geach is the guy's name. And he asks...
He's like, God damn you ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, she goes, God damn you ugly. Some people just need beauty sleep. Yo ass needs a coma. I was like, that's great. And she goes, yeah, he's in. What's it to you? And he just fucking punches her in the face.
Straight up. Like,
just knocks her out, blood gushing out of her nose. And he walks into the house himself. He's got the cool red Converse on. I actually own these Converse, which is cool. And then we see this couple sitting in a room. We find out this is Geach and his wife. And Geach is having a nice drink here, a nice little beer beverage. And he's talking about what he would do if he was president of the United States. And he's like...
Geach is a fucking character.
Dude, him and his wife. Jesus Christ. So he's like, hey, baby, you know what I'd do if I was president of the United States? And then they cut to the wife, and she's snorting a line of coke. And she's wearing a shirt that says baby. She's pregnant. Snorting cocaine. And he goes, bitch, are you listening? And he said if he was president, he would make black westerns. And I was like, oh, man, he would have loved Django Unchained. He would have loved Django Unchained. But yeah, he basically talked about how, like, you know, there was no black cowboys. And if he was president, he would make westerns, you know, with black cowboys. He uses very colorful language that cannot be repeated on this podcast. But just know he's passionate about this. She goes, oh, South Central 90210 is on. Like, what? And then he's still talking about this Western and how history books don't cover this stuff. And, you know, he's going to change that if he becomes president. And you get a really cool image of Clownface behind him, just in the shadows, which looks cool. Which, you know, I definitely, you know, pulled for my Malice book at one point. You see him, like, in the shadows the same way. Which is funny because I say I pulled it, but I designed, like, I did that image before reading this. So I saw that and I was like, oh shit, you know, that's what I did. And then as Geach is talking to her, Clownface uses also colorful language that he maybe should not be saying. And he breaks the beer can that Geach has, and we see Clownface in full gear here. He's got the mask on, you know, the knife out. He's got the chain hanging from the belt. He just looks cool as hell. And he asks, where's Janice? And he pulls out the knife, and he's like basically saying, Geach, don't punk me right now. I need to know where Janice is, and I don't got time for this. Where is he? And he's like, oh, man, I don't know where he is. And he tells his wife, hey, can you turn off 90210 and put on Jeopardy? And she goes, yeah, I got you. You know, no problem. And as, you know, it's obviously a ploy. She's pulling out a gun behind the TV. And Geach is like, listen, like, Clownface, I heard everything that happened with you at your office, you know what. And as he's talking to Clownface, he's like, how many months pregnant is your wife? And he's like, I don't know, maybe like 7-8 months. Why? And then she pulls out a fucking gun. And the minute she did this, I was like, you dumb bitch. What are you doing? But I did not expect it was next. Because she goes 8 months in a few days. And he goes, exactly? And then he fucking stabs her in the stomach. And he goes, your baby's dead now. Where's Janice? I'm like, what? Whoa. And then he's like, oh, you're a murderer. And he's like, listen, the amount of cocaine she was snorting, like, bro, that baby was dead. He's like, I did you guys a favor. He's like, but if I move this knife up and kill her, then yeah, I'll be a murderer. So tell me where's Janice? And he's like, he's at JoJo's house on Chastity Drive. And he goes, I did you a favor, Geach. Thugs like us aren't family type. I'm like, bro. And then he turns the lights off and it says blam, blam, blam. I'm guessing, because I see Geach grabbing for the gun, I'm guessing that's him shooting at him but missing. That's what I figured.
That's what I assumed too, yeah.
Because he turns off the lights with the bloody knife. To which I was like, bro, what the fuck are we in for? This man, I'm seeing words thrown around I shouldn't. I'm seeing babies getting stabbed in the womb. Like, I'm seeing pregnant ladies doing cocaine. And at the same time, I'm like, this is awesome. This is cool. Because, like, it's, okay, we're talking about it, but it's not, like, made in, like, a disrespectful way. Or, like, in, like, a racist way. You know what I mean? It's not done like that. They present it really well in this book. So, it's not, like, offensive. So, don't get offended by this book. For now.
For now.
Until we get to this next scene. So, now we're on a plane. And the plane's running around. We hear, the flight attendant talking about how they're going to be landing soon. It's going to be smooth sailing going in. And they go, if you look out to your left, you'll see the crater made during O.J. Simpson's escape of 98 by the nuclear warhead he constructed in his prison metal shop class. Good old O.J. I was like, what? What universe is this, dude? I kind of want to be in it.
I don't know.
Oh, man. So this flight attendant walks over and she's like, excuse me, miss, can you please turn down your radio? It's bothering the other passengers on the plane. And we see it's Panda. And she's looking up with her headset on and she just flips off the flight attendant. And the flight attendant's like, little bitch. It's awesome. So then she picks up like it looked like she dropped a book that was there.
Yeah.
In the story. She drops that in her, like, with her jacket, and she stops her tape, and she starts getting up and walking.
I was gonna say, is that a Walkman?
So that is actually, that's a tape, either not recorder, but like a tape player, because I actually...
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Funny.
You got one?
I actually have my Walkman right here next to me.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, yeah, this was
Oh, yeah, I had one of those.
Yeah, so I mean, this doesn't work, sadly. I tried to get it to work, but but this is the time, man, they still had tape players.
That's
so
right.
She stops her tape and she starts walking to the back of the plane, and a hand comes out and grabs her ass cheek, like just full on grabs her ass cheek. Which
full on.
We then find out there's not much of, because he says, "Geez, you ain't packing anything." And then he says a racial slur to Hispanics. And he goes, "I thought you guys had big butts from eating all those burritos." It's like, whoa, dude.
Jesus Christ.
And he goes, "I guess for you, all that fat went to your boobs, huh?" And then we cut back, like we see her eyes looking angry, and then there's a cool cut to Clownface's eyes, which are, same color. They look the same, which is cool. And he has a great line. Clownface is like, "Somebody's chocolate is in my peanut butter pops." I'm like, hell yeah. That's such a great line. So he's driving around a car right now, and this is where we meet his partner in crime, Pops.
I was gonna say, yeah, they just call him Pops.
Yeah, they call him Pops. But I do think his name in the beginning, they do mention it. It is Iran Pop Secula, one of those. But yeah, Pops.
His government name.
Yeah, his full government. But as you can see from that news article, you realize, like, this world they're in is kind of like the norm. It's not like, oh, criminals, who are they? They need to be stopped. It's like, oh yeah, their criminal headquarters was blown up. You know what I mean? Their bounty hunter headquarters was gone. Like, oh well, it's like another news day. But we see Pops looks cool, man. He's got like this metal hat on. And he's got like the chin strap beard, smoking a cigarette with like his nose stapled on. Like, this man's been through shit. And he's pissed. He's like, man, how did Janice know we were coming to that house? And we find out they're chasing Janice now. He's like, how did he know? As he's talking, we get told here that Pops has to shoot out his tires. We see him right in front. Pops is kind of just reminiscing about life before his wife died. How him and Clownface and his wife they would have good times together, on jobs and all that. They would hang out and have fun. And as he's talking about this, Clownface is like, Pops, I don't want to like burst your bubble, but we kind of need to stop this guy. And as he says that, this dude hits someone with a car on the side of the road. He's just like, "Oh, we need to stop this guy. Do you mind shooting out his tires?" And he tells him, he's like, "Listen, like, shoot out these tires because think about it. If it wasn't for people like him, you would still have your wife. This is your chance to get like some payback." And he kind of pauses, and he just says, "Get me closer so I can get a better shot." So he's a little bit motivated there. He's still going through it a little bit. We cut back to the plane. Now the flight attendant he sounds a little nervous, or not the flight attendant, the the pilot. He's like, "Oh, folks, please settle back in your seats. Seems there was a slight disruption in the main cabin, but the disturbance has been taken care of. Thank you." And we cut back, and there's just a bloody napkin. And this woman's like, "Do you want me to call the cops? Your son was beaten up. His nose is broken, I think." And then they cut to him, and this dude is fucked up. Like, missing teeth. His eyes, like, just completely bruised to shit. Like, he is
They're
fucked up.
swollen shut.
And they asked the girl, they're like, "Do you want us to call the cops for your son?" And the stepmom goes, "My stepson received what he deserved." And we find out this is the guy that grabbed up on her ass.
Which, true.
Beat the shit out of, yeah.
Yeah,
Not only did he
fair.
grope her, he was also racist towards her, and she beat the shit out of him.
I think that was warranted.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, she goes, the stepmom goes, "I'll handle this. Thank you for your concern." And the flight attendant's like, "Oh, pick up his teeth. Pick up his teeth." Yo. So then we cut back to Clownface, and they've shot out the tires at this point, and this car has flown into a building, and it's tipped over. He's walking through the hole in the wall of the building, and he's calling out Janice, and cool little image there of him pulling out his double knives. And he says, "I'm going to open you up like a $2 whore."
And I'm thinking the whole time, like, where do you buy one for $2?
Honestly,
Even in 1995.
That's a deal. That's a deal.
That's a hell of a deal.
And then Janice is like, "Oh, never!" And he starts shooting at him. And he's shooting at Clownface here, and Clownface is like, perfect. And he just chucks his knife at him. And it goes at like rapid speed. Janice jumps out the way. He's cussing in Spanish. Like, "Oh, shit." That's what he says in Spanish there. "Ay mierda." I mean, so shit. Jumps out the way. He threw the knife so hard, it exploded the wall. To which at that point I was like, all right, this guy has to have superpowers. And it is explained a little later on. I was like, what the fuck, dude? So the wall explodes, and we see Janice coughing, and he's like, "Oh, my face. My face." He's like, "Oh, good, ay bueno. My face, it's beautiful in every way." He's like obsessed with his looks. He tries to get out, tries to escape, and he runs away. We cut back to the plane here. By the way, I like this sequence of one page is Clownface, one page is Panda, going back and forth to their situations. I kind of like that.
Janice is so obsessed with his face, he reminds me of Vega from Street Fighter.
Yo, honestly, he does. I didn't even think of that. We find out that they're arriving to their destination soon. We found out the destination they're arriving to will be, spoiler alert, Terminus. But they're saying, it's beautiful outside. It's going to be a nice landing. And we see Panda walking to the bathroom. This woman grabs her, and she goes, Panda goes, "Touch me and you'll have to dig my shoe out of your ass." And she's like, "Whoa, relax, honey. Like, I come in peace. We're good." And she finds out this is Maureen Scorsese. And I was like, the director? I'm like, Martin?
I was going to say, that's a very interesting last name.
Yeah. And she says, "I'm here to apologize for my stepson's actions. My family lives by a strong code of honor, but unfortunately, Junior doesn't believe it extends towards women. So, you know what? I apologize." And she puts her hand out. And Panda's like, "Yo, I gotta take a piss. Like, can we fucking wrap this shit up? Like, I gotta go." And she asks her, she goes, "What's your name?" She goes, "I'm Panda Carmen Maria Delgado. What's it to you?" And she goes, "All right, I'm just wondering." And as she's about to tell her more, Panda fucking closes the door on her. She gives no fucks. She's badass. She's cool. So now we cut back here to Janice running. And he's trying to open up his car door. And as he's doing that, Clownface, the image of him slicing the knife down with his, like, eyes all bugged out, dude, so fucking cool. Because you see how, like, monstrous he is, and him with, like, that crazy look in his eye is insane.
And then you got Janice going, "You missed this."
Yeah, and then as he says that, he goes, "Huh?" And his nose falls off. And then I love how he talks after he gets his nose cut off, because it took me saying the lines out loud. I'm like, holy shit, that's how you sound without a nose. He goes,
Yeah.
He goes, "My nose, you cut out my nose."
You ruined my face.
My nose is gone. I was like, that's great. So then he goes, "You ruined my face, died." He starts shooting at Clownface, and he eats like 2 bullets to the shoulder. He bounces one off his knife and takes one right to the dome piece. 3 more to the car, but one of them hits the gas, and the car explodes in a huge fiery eruption. Now here is where there's some cameos. cameos. Jocelyn, you're probably wondering what cameos are here. You could probably already see 2 immediately. We are at the airport here in Terminus.
Oh, yeah.
And we see Panda walking around the airport. There's 2 people all the way to the right of this panel, and it is Hellboy and Abe Sapien in disguise walking around, which I thought was really cool.
How did I not pick this up when I first read it?
All the way to the left, there's one guy there with like a trench coat and glasses. I don't know if that's someone, but that person behind him with the helmet, that's definitely someone, but I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
With like the spiky hair, that has to be someone. And then the big one here, which made me have to do some research. Right next to Hellboy, there was a person there with a shirt that says Sin City. And I found out that is Dwight McCarthy from Sin City. Standing next to him is Miho from Sin City. You know, the chick with like the swastika throwing stars?
Oh yeah.
That's Miho, and behind her is Gale, better known as the woman Rosario Dawson played in Sin City the movie. So that was the crew, and I think it was the Big Fat Kill. That was like the crew. Because that's after Dwight got like facial reconstruction and his hair looked all like cool and 90s. That was the 3 crew walking around Sin City. I was like, holy shit, they put them in the book. So I just thought that was cool. I was reading it and I'm like, I saw Sin City and I was like, is that Dwight? And then literally 2 seconds later, I was like, is that fucking Hellboy? I was like, what the hell?
I mean, the Hellboy one is just so like glaring.
And then I saw Abe Sapien next. I was like, oh, that's Abe in his disguise that he wears in public with the beard and everything. I was like, that's cool. And then I was like, wait, that's Miho. And then I was like, who's the other one? Because then, of course, everyone knows Sin City's in black and white. And then Rosario Dawson isn't a white blonde woman. So I was like, who is this? Yeah. And then I looked up, I was like, let me look up Gale. And she wears that exact outfit in the Sin City book with the police hat and everything. So I was like, ah, shit, cool, it's Gale, all right. And then I remembered at this time, oh yeah, no one knew what these characters looked like in color.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was cool just to point out. So we do see Panda walking out. She's like mixed into the crowd there, and there's a guy with a Jesus Save sign. And he's like, Jesus will kick your ass if you don't follow his word. And he goes, you non-believing bastard, to some random guy. He goes, may nothing but painful bile pour from your testicles.
I'm going to use that one.
And then he goes, you, harlot, whore of several damnations. And he's talking to Panda. You still have hope. Come with me into the bathroom, whore. Kneel before me in thy hour of need, and I might let Jesus save you.
Oh my God.
And she like kind of swats his hand away, and she goes, you need Jesus to get those hairy palms of yours to a barber shop. And he fucking like bitch slaps her in the back of the head. He like donkey punches her. I was like, whoa, dude. And he's like, you blasphemer. He goes, you dare refuse me? And as he's like yelling at her, he starts slowing down his speech. Because then she gives that same look she gave to the dude on the plane. And then it cuts over to Clownface. I was like, fuck, I wanted to see this guy get his ass kicked. It's like, God damn it. They took it away from us.
I really want to point out the exterior shot because I really love this.
Also, we haven't mentioned it as much in this. Every page of this is beautiful.
Yeah.
We are
like
reading
the art in this book.
Yeah, and we're reading the Image recolored, updated colored version. And it's so bright and colorful, and like there's like no mistakes in this. It just looks.
Everything pops.
Yeah,
Everything
it pops.
yeah.
Like the shadowing on everybody looks amazing. Like this is like a beautiful book. I see why people have hyped this book up over the years, just alone on the art too. So we see this apartment complex to really run down neighborhood here. But if you look, Terminus, there's a lot of like Japanese kanji everywhere. If you look outside that strip club of the chick with the nipple tassels.
There is, yeah, you're right.
There's like kanji there, so I don't know if it's like a mix of like Japan. Obviously, there's like a Japan influence if you even look at this book for 2 seconds. I mean, that whole this whole studio, 12 gauge, was full of like Japanese influence guys. This team was great. Oh shit! Okay, real quick, at the back of this book, they talk about these 12 gauge comics, and guess who's the creator in 12 gauge comics? Besides, Chuck Dixon and Paul Jenkins and Ron Mars, Rosario Dawson.
Oh, wow.
And it's advertising her book, OCT, Occult Crimes Task Force, and she's like the character in it, but it's done by her.
I've seen that book.
Yeah, she was on this imprint of Image. That's cool. Or I don't think it was Image at the time. They were picked up by Image after.
I believe.
Yeah, so this apartment complex is the location of Clownface and Pops. We see all I like seeing the area here. Like they zoom in on his suit, and they're like, Pops is telling him like, hey, good thing what he was shooting you with was like low grain ammunition, because if it was anything else, like you would have been dead. Like the fact it just pierced your armor and like made it look fucked up, that's like good, you know. If anything else would have went through your head. And we see he's getting all bandaged up. Actually, it's interesting because Pops is like popping, no pun intended, popping pills here. And they're talking about how like broke they are. They're in deep need of funds and money. They explain it here that they're basically living off the change in his ashtray of the car, which is insane. And they've been looking for big jobs, and they have one lined up. But they're like, they're a little like iffy about it, but they're looking to take it. And it's cool. We get some cool images here of Clownface like punching this punching bag. He looks like a Street Fighter character almost. He's like
he kind of looks a little bit like
He's like if Sagat grew up in Detroit.
if Sagat had Zangief's physique.
Yeah, literally.
Kind of like that.
But yeah, he's pissed, man. He wants Janice. He wants Janice bad. He wants Janice's skull as a door knocker. He's not gonna let him go. Pops is trying to talk him down. He's like, listen, like revenge isn't gonna pay the bills, and we need to pay the bills. Like we're tight right now. And he goes, listen, I don't want to hear that you're getting old speech again, Pops. That Spanish Coke boy just got lucky this time. And they're talking about this neurologist that was seeing Pops, and Pops is actually sick. And, you know, they kind of, we'll see more of it later on, but that metal skull cap is, like, attached to his head. That's not just, like, a hat. It's, like, screwed onto his head. And he talks about how if he didn't have that, when the explosion went off, like, he would have been dead if he didn't have that. And as they're talking about Janice and saying that they're going to find him, they don't care where he is, there's a knock at the door. And at the end of issue 1, we see Panda. And he goes, what do you want? She goes, after 10 years, can you just say something nicer than that to your own daughter? And I do love the little touch of her wearing the smiley face pin in her hat. Or in her hat. In her hair.
In her hair. Yeah.
It's a cool little touch. And issue 2, by the way, we took a little time reviewing that issue 1, but issue 1 goes by very quick when you're reading it.
It does.
To which we are brought to issue 2, and this is Panda and Clownface's reuniting. They're finally seeing each other after 10 years. Basically, she's being a smartass with them. She's like, I'm living with you now. And she gets all happy, and she runs, and she goes, geez, the only thing uglier than your face is the place you're living at. You see Pops get all happy when she sees him. She calls him Poppy, and we find out Pops is actually her godfather. That's how close these two families were. It's her godfather. She gets all happy, jumps on him, gives him a big hug. So we find out her age. He says, I'm surprised you remember me. You were just fresh out of the oven when I last saw you. 14 now, right? She goes, 14 and a half. Brother.
Yeah, that makes things better, I guess. Not really. Not really.
This is my only complaint about this book. This is not how you draw 14-year-olds. For people that don't know. Panda is drawn with boobs the size of 2 Earths.
I remember being 14 and being in high school, and girls didn't look like that.
No, man.
You know what I mean? Like, it did not look like that.
Dude, if girls like that looked like that when I was 14, I would have been even more scared to talk to women.
Yeah, same. It wouldn't have encouraged me anymore to go up and talk to them.
So as she's talking with Pops, you see Clownface like crunching her bag up like in anger behind him. Basically says like, don't get too comfortable. Like, what happened? Your mom never wanted you near me because I'm like a problem. I'm violent. Like, she didn't want. What are you doing here? Basically, she's like a smartass. She's like, golly, Daddy, can't you be happy to see your one and only daughter, whose only burning desire was to be with her father after 10 lonely, daddyless years? And he throws her back at the wall. He basically says, miss me with that bullshit. What the fuck you doing here? You ran away, didn't you? And she goes, all right, fine. I had no choice. I had to leave. I didn't want to be there. He's like, God damn it, Panda. Why did you leave? And she's like, because I didn't want to do what mom does. I wanted to be. They call them body baggers. That's what they call these hitmen. They're body baggers. These vigilante.
Contract killers,
Yeah, bounty hunters, basically. And he's like, what? You want to be what? And she goes, no, it'll be perfect. She goes, I'll take the bedroom and you'll take the couch. This is perfect. And this is when we see Pops. There's a knock at the door. And Pops is like, oh, fuck, not now. And we find out, we cut over here to Janice running around the streets going, he cut off my nose.
He cut off my nose.
My nose is over. And by the way, his real name is Mac. They call him Mac, Clownface, but we'll call him Clownface. It's a lot easier. So
return him to Mac.
Yeah, return to the Mac. He goes, kill Mac. Ow. And then we see a car come and fucking hits him in the middle of the street. And he goes, this is the worst luck. He goes flying, and the husband steps out the car and goes, Jesus, puked on his throne. Did you see his face? It looked as nasty as your sister's lasagna.
What the fuck?
And then the wife goes, is he dead? And he goes, for a sec, I hope so. Let's get out of here. And they just leave him. This town is insane, dude. This is like a crime. This is like the whole city's crime alley. So this is Gotham City, but like on steroids.
I love it though, because when you're reading it, you really get a sense that like this city is like really grimy. And
There's
dirty.
no law here. It's like a lawless place run by like weird, gross crime lords and stuff. It's cool. Okay, it was at this point that I was like, man, like an adult animation of this show would be so
that'd
cool.
be fun.
That would be
that'd be
cool.
fun.
Even if they have to put it like on like a streaming service and they can't get it like on a TV station like Adult Swim or something, I think this would be fun.
You just you just gotta make Panda eat.
Yeah,
That's all you gotta do.
1,000%. That's the only complaint I have about this book, is that Panda.
Because if
should have
you're
been
gonna draw her
18.
like that, she's got to be of age.
Yeah, she has to be 100%, especially in the next couple pages. Like,
Yeah.
But it's funny. So they hit this guy with a car, leave him for dead, and Janice is still like, my face.
Explosion. My face.
He goes, car, my face, explosion, exploded, Mac. I like that he's just like, he reminds me of like Jigsaw almost, you know?
Yeah.
And then we see this dude that's straight out of like fucking Cyberpunk. Like, this guy looks cool as fuck, dude. And okay, this is what they say in the book. I'm gonna read this exact line.
Please.
Pops opens the door and says, Mac, it's Cisco's flunky black Angus. He goes, or should I say how Mac likes to refer to you as Cisco's funky black anus? I was like, what?
Why would anyone call him?
And he's like, what? What did you just say to me? And then, of course, Panda makes it worse. She's like, who's this sperm miscount? And he's like, mind your business. He's like, don't worry. And
okay, that's another thing. What 14-year-old says, who's that sperm miscount?
yeah.
What? Like,
Panda, of course.
I guess.
Then he starts being a little disrespectful here to Pops. You know, I don't like people I like Pops, all right? Pops is cool. So he talks to Pops. He's like, is your head bleeding again? That concussion cap actually screwed to your skull doesn't help much. And we actually see him wipe blood from his head. You know, that's what him and the doctors, that's what he's been meeting with those doctors about this skull cap that's making him bleed. He goes, you going to live long enough to do this job? And as he's like kind of like degrading Pops, Clownface is like, all right, Angus, like, is the job still going? Like, are we good? Like, we need this job to happen because we need the money. And he tells him, all right, tomorrow night, Saskatchewan Gardens. I think I said that right. He goes, Cisco wants it clean. He wants only Maureen Scorsese. And Panda's like, oh, Maureen Scorsese? Tall blonde fake boobs, tacky earrings? And then the next line she says, you see both the guys go, yeah, her. And she goes, oh, I can help you get her. I met that plastic heifer on the plane. You know, as 14-year-olds say.
Yeah, of course.
She goes, Mom always wanted me to be a police inspector, which I think is cool that the wife went to a life of law and he went to a life of crime, which I think is pretty cool. But she goes, I knew I was down like my dad to be a body bagger. I even got my own uniform. I'll show you. And then this dude, now that we know her age, this guy's a creep. Angus goes, who's the sweet potato pie? To which Clownface rightfully says, mind your own fucking business. Like, shut the fuck up. Get your ass out of here. And he kicks him out the house. And we found out this job is actually paying, they say it quite a bit, 50 G's. It's a lot of money. Especially
That is a lot.
90 standards, you know? So Pops closes the door angrily and calls him a freak. And he's knocking on the door, and now you see Clownface is like, yo, Panda, I'm gonna whip your bony ass as thin as my patience if you don't come out of there. And then she's like, hold on, I'm coming. Pops is trying to like talk him down and calm him down. And he goes, listen, I don't think she's gonna respond anyway to how you react. Like, she's kind of motivated to do what she wants. And he's like, no, I can fix that. I can like make her leave. Clownface is like, I can get her the fuck out of here. And he goes, Pop's like, dude, it's not gonna work. And then we see something that this image is fucked up now. Yeah, of her getting
To say the
changed.
least.
That doesn't need to be in here. And he tells him, like, yeah, I can make her leave. And Pops is like, no, you can't. Like, she's not going to leave. She's not going to change her mind. He's like, but I remember she hated guns. So tomorrow morning, I'll take her out. I'll scare her a little bit, and I'll get her to go. You know, that's all we'll do. We'll scare her away from this life. He goes, plus, besides, how can you plan on sending her back? He goes, you can't even afford a plane ticket, so what the fuck are you going to do? She's not going to walk home. And then she busts out the door, and she's all happy. She goes, make way for the total badass. And they're both, like, smirking. They find it amusing. He's like, yeah, she's definitely your daughter, you know? The eccentric look of the costume like he has. And then we cut back here to Janice on the floor after being hit by the car. And we see this hand pick him up. And I think it's a woman. I don't know. They got ugly hands, so who knows? But they open the door. They got a nice pink car like Barbie. And they pick up Janice. And they're like, "Oh my God!" They keep talking to a person named Smedley. They're like, "Smedley,
Yeah.
Look at that vicious bastard Mac did to my poor Janice. Look at his face." And then this person has an idea, and they tell their driver to drive. And then we get a nice like city shot here again. The city shots are beautiful, of like the skylines.
They really are. Yeah.
Like, while it feels compact and close and clustered, it also feels like large, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like this town is like, look, there's just a lot of buildings, like, no matter where you look. We hear a gunshot go off, and we find out Panda's talking to Pops here, and she's wondering why her dad was pissed. And he's like, he's not used to sleeping on the couch, Panda. So this means she actually did take the bedroom. And he tells her, he's like, hey, hit those lights. 4 perfect shots. Blam, 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 blam. Hits the lights perfectly. And she goes, well, where'd he go? And he goes, he's just grabbing some supplies for the job tonight. Hit the girl in the blue on the giant billboard. Blam, blam, blam. 2 to the eye, 1 to the face. She's just like nailing these shots. And she goes, when Mom took me target shooting once, she said Daddy doesn't use guns. This is where we find out that Mac, Clownface, is actually able to throw knives at the velocity of a mortar round. So that's how he was able to explode that wall just by throwing a knife. So he's basically like a mutant almost, And she tells him, she goes, I like guns, especially this one. Pops is like, yeah, okay, good, you can keep it. I don't like Glocks anyway. You can keep the Glocks. She's like, oh, I can have it? Creamy. Who the fuck says creamy? I had never heard no one say creamy.
Never.
And she goes, hey, I overheard you and Daddy talking last night. Like, why were you guys trying to, like, scare me out of this? And he goes, oh, no, it actually wasn't my intention. Like, I knew you were kind of made for this. He goes, I want to see if you had the eye. She's like, the eye? He goes, I've always known you had it, but your mother never wanted Mac to know. In sports, they call it the zone. Pilots know it as the right stuff. And for baggers, it's the eye. It's being so attuned with yourself and your weapon that you never miss your target. It's freedom from mistakes no matter what the condition. So basically, people are like fucking bullseye. You are like, certain people are like attached to their weapon of choice to the point it's like almost superhuman what they can do with them. And he goes, for you, you're a natural dead shot. For your dad, he can fucking throw knives at speed of like a fucking grenade launcher, I guess. She even says here, doctors call it focalized photographic reflexes. He's like, nah, fuck that mumbo jumbo. It's called the eye. Get out of here with that science bullshit. Now strip those tools and start cleaning. I like how he's like, cut it out with that science bullshit. It's not real. But the eye is. And she goes, my dad doesn't really like me too much, does he? And he's like, no, he loves you. You just came at like a really bad time. Like, we're down on our luck. Like, this isn't really like the time he really wants to take in a kid. And it kind of shows what he did in the beginning of the book, saying that their type of people aren't made for families. He probably just doesn't want a family. As he's walking away to go back downstairs, she's all happy she gets to be her dad's sidekick as a body bagger. And you see Pops is actually like writhing in pain now, and he is bleeding a lot from his head. And he's like, listen, I hope you could become his sidekick, because I can't do this for too long.
Yeah, basically.
So then we see this very extravagant looking mansion here. Like, it's huge. We see this man screaming about how he is mad that not only a woman, but a Hispanic woman beat the shit out of his son on an airplane. He goes, I don't care.
It was bad enough it was a woman, but a Hispanic woman. Oh,
yeah,
man.
He's a little... And then you find out this is a rich man talking to Maureen Scorsese, and she's like, well, honestly, he had it coming. He needs to learn manners and to respect not only Hispanics, but women.
I just want to point out that last panel where his eyes are bulging out, fucking crazy.
Yeah, he looks insane.
Yeah.
And he says to me, he goes, listen, it's my son's 16th birthday. He shouldn't look like how he looks right now, where his eyes bulging out and he's missing 5 teeth. Like, this is ridiculous. And she tells him, she's like, listen, he had what was coming to him, like his husband, like his dad. And he tells you, he's like, watch your mouth or you'll get what you deserve. So you can see he's obviously like, this is like a fucked up family. And then we see this really sexy maid show up. And we find out, they're having a dinner tonight. He orders his wife to go do it. And the son's like, yeah, Dad, you told that bitch off. And he's like, shut the fuck up. And then we cut back to the apartment, which is a great little like side-by-side where now Clownface is telling Panda to shut up. It's the same speech bubble saying, shut up. And he's like, listen, you're not going on this run. Like, it's too much of a liability. We can't have you here. And he goes, and plus, like, I still got to talk to your mom about everything's going on. Like, this is ridiculous. Just hang out. And she's like, you promised me that if I cleaned all the weapons, you would take me. And he's like, well, I lied. So what are you going to do about it? So she starts tearing the apartment apart, smashing her bat into like every portion of the wall. And I love that if you look at her bat at the end, the bat is broken.
I think some of the best unintentional comedy is like she's freaking out and then because the clown face mask is always smiling.
Yeah.
So he's just standing in place and he's like smiling.
And no, it's funny here too because she's like, this is not fair. It's not. And she's hitting the wall break. You see like the effects, like the bash, boom, bam, like the really like corny sound effects. And then they show the apartment just destroyed. And he's just like, all right, fucking just stop ruining my apartment. He's not like, no, stop. He's just like, all right, fucking relax. She goes, oh, I can go. He goes, fine, grab your jacket from the closet. And he goes, and promise to stay quiet on the way. And she goes, oh, goody. And then he closes the door and you find out this is like a safe and he locks her in it. She's like, what the hell? So he locks Panda in the room and now we see...
This is almost like a Looney Tunes sketch.
Yeah. But for some reason, like, it's not out of place. It works, with this book.
Yeah.
This book is like the perfect mix of 90s action comics, that manga over-the-top expression style, and like Saturday morning cartoons. Like, it has like the Batman sound effects, like the biff, bam, boom for sound effects. It has that good middle ground. So now we see a doctor here. I can't tell if the way he's talking is racist or not.
I can't tell either.
Yeah. It's an Asian doctor, but the way he says the test shows that he writes the test show that his. So I don't know.
I don't get that either.
Or if he just has like an accent, I don't know. This is like a really like evil looking doctor here. He's got like long fingernails. He's got like a robotic monocle. He's straight out of like a cyberpunk world. This is like a very cyberpunk-ish world. And we find out that this woman that picked up Janice earlier has brought him to this doctor trying to get him fixed up. And the doctor's like, it's going to take some time. And she's like, and by time, you mean you're going to have him finished tonight so I can have him for tomorrow. And he's like, how much? He goes, it's a costly job. I guess they say what? They'll pay triple the rate to have it done? I like that he's like, the repairs are expensive. This will cost so much money. It's going to take so long. And they're like, I'll pay you triple. And he's like, I'll have it done by tomorrow. Like, just that quick, like, light switch. We see I love these, like, scene buildings of, like, the environment. We see, like, someone skateboarding, and we see, like, this mix of, like, kanji and regular English, which looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is pretty cool. And then we see cars flying down, and I love the license plate that says, "The Boss."
The boss.
The boss comes flying down the street, and you find out that's Clownface and Pops coming down the street. And they're talking about this job coming. They got bad vibes from it. Pops is kind of second-guessing it now. He's like, I don't know. Like, it seems like fishy. I don't trust this. Like, everything about this just feels off. Clownface is like, listen, just relax. This is going to be good. Think about how much money we have. And he goes, I don't want to hear about any of these doubts anymore. This is going to be a job. Are you with me, Starsky? And he goes, yeah, Hutch. So he kind of talks him back into it after having heavy doubts about this job. And he goes, hey, by the way, what did you do to make Panda stay at home? And as he says that, you hear, what? From the back seat. And it's Panda just eating a lollipop saying, I'm beginning to think you guys don't want me around. And they're both like, what the fuck? How did you get in here? And then issue 2 ends. It ends in that little cliffhanger of how the fuck she got there. This man locked her in a closet, and she somehow got to the car. But that was Body Bags number 1 and 2. Joss, what did you think of Body Bags number 1 and 2?
Despite my problems with it, like my obvious problems with it,
yeah,
I still found it enjoyable. I still had fun reading it.
Absolutely. And We did dog on, that obvious stuff. Again, recipes, Pearson, we love you. But this, even at the time, was panned for this. It's still known as like the most controversial comic from when it came out. That's why. It's because of how Panda's drawn.
Yeah.
That it caught a lot of flack from people reading. But like when you put that to the side and you're just like reading the story for what it is, the story is great. It's a great world. The scenario said it's a very simple scenario to get. These guys need money. They're bounty hunters and they're doing a job that might not be what it seems, Meanwhile, there's someone that could be coming for them that wants revenge, which is the same person they want to kill anyway. So, Yeah, and it's cool looking at this because that body bag's picture from that card was from 1993. And this came out like 1996.
Yeah.
Is when this came out. So like he had this like idea for quite a while,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even though, besides the obvious artistic choices for Panda, it could have been as easily avoided just to say she was 18. Easy as that. Besides all that, though, this is a high recommend for me so far, and we will be finishing issues 3 and 4 after next month. Next month's our Youngblood special, but then after that, we're gonna read issues 3 and 4 and finish up this book. It'll be the first time in a while we've actually did a full story arc of something, so I thought that'd be fun to do. Look out for more story arcs this year too.
And I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely. So I thought, why not start with one that, we've seen so much about. I actually, for people who don't know, I actually own the Body Bags figures that were sold by Toy Biz, the guys who did Marvel Legends at the time. They were also making independent comic book figures, and they made, like, everybody, dude. They made, like, Savage Dragon, Madman. They made Body Bags. They made Pit. It was like the figure was Build-A-Pit. It was crazy. They made Witchblade. They made Darkness. They were making a bunch of stuff. But it was cool that you could go to like Walmart and buy Body Bags in a 2-pack next to Witchblade. And I remember going to Walmart and wanting the Body Bags 2-pack, but my parents said they didn't know what it was, so they didn't want to buy me a fucking serial killer. Because the cover on the toy had like the knife swinging with the blood and the chick with big boobs and guns. So they were like, we don't want to buy this for him,
Yeah.
he's like 11. Let's not buy this for him. But like, I didn't even know what they were, but I was like, they look cool, But I'm proud to say, years later, I did eventually buy them, and I got them on display on my shelf, and I'm proud of it. So, and I'm happy, all these years later, finally reading issues 1 and 2. But I think this is another home run for starting off a series. We've been on a streak.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the and I enjoyed the second issue as well.
Yes. So yes, that was issues 1 and 2. It was weird when these came out. It was 4 issues, but then Image released it as 2 issues, number 1 and number 2, which is doing what we're doing. Number 1 collected issues 1 and 2, and number 2 collected issues 3 and 4. Luckily, on the trade paperback or how you read it online, it is separated as issues, so it's a little easier to follow. There was ways to get this digitally by 12 Gauge themselves, but it's been quite a while since, because they're not. Are they still in business? They are still. Whoa, 12 Gauge still exists.
Well, they're an imprint of Image.
Yeah, well, I didn't know, like, this imprint was still around, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like, what are they making? Like, I don't even know what they're making. I do know there was recent, like, if you do want more recent body bag stuff, there was a crossover recently with Hack and Slash, which I was like, oh, yeah, of course. It was a Hack and Slash body bags crossover. I'm like, yeah, that's obvious. Yeah, if you go to their website, too, they have a section of series, and it's all about body bags. Whoa, what the fuck is this news? Okay, I don't know how updated their news article is. What? Okay, yeah, this is from 2018. Get this news article on 12 Gauge's website. You ready to hear this? Dave Bautista to headline Dogtown featuring a feature film, an adaptation of the 12 Gauge series Body Bags.
What the fuck?
Did that ever come out?
Doubt it.
No, it didn't. But it was an adaptation of Body Bags called Dogtown. I'm guessing Batista was supposed to be Let's see.
Clown phase.
Bold Films has set Guardians of the Galaxy's Dave Bautista to star and John Wick 2 scribe Kyle Ward to write Dogtown, a film based on the long-running comic book series Body Bags. The comic was created by Jason Pearson, and it is a stylized, irreverent action story. Bautista will play Mac Delgado, the professional bounty hunter tough enough to be called a body bagger. Things take a turn for him when the teenage daughter he never knew turns up on his doorstep, hoping to reconnect with the father she lost long ago. The hope is to start production this fall. Who was supposed to play Panda?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I want to know who was supposed to play her, because that's interesting. Like, what was the route they were going to go? Yeah, dude, there was a bunch of news articles about this in 2018, summer of 2018, and it just never happened. It was supposed to be an action comedy. Makes sense. Wow. So look at that. I learned something new today, too.
Honestly, yeah.
There was supposed to be a Body Bags movie. Fuck it, man. Dude, I'll take an animated Body Bags, and I could honestly see him doing the voice. He has like that gravelly voice, you know. He could deepen his, like, make his voice sound a little bit deeper, because it's animated. So
yeah, I think an animated Body Bags.
It's the way to go.
Sense.
You could go all out with that. Yeah, when you look up Dogtown movie, it's all Lords of Dogtown, the skating movie.
Oh yeah,
Great movie, but not the one I'm looking for. But yes, Body Bags, number 1 and 2, success. In 2 months, we'll read 3 and 4. But next month is our Youngblood special for our issue, and we will be reviewing Youngblood number 1. So look forward to that. For Jocelyn and Gabe, we will be seeing you next month. Take care and read more comics.